Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another Conversations with JR. Ooh, I got some tea to spill. Yes, I do. It's all about the Trump Biden situation. Don't mean to get political. I usually don't speak out against or about or for or in support of any political party. But I have been watching the dealings of what's been going on. And I think it's a shame of this nation not to back President Biden. You know, I'm not taking sides. I am not here to encourage people to sway their votes in any way. Nor am I a political analyst. I am a voter. I am in the public. I am of public opinion. And I'm also a critical thinker. You know, are people paying attention how this country is degrading and dehumanizing this man? No, let's just look at it for what it really is. Yes, he's 80. Yes, that debate was horrible for both parties. The Democratic Party had 4 years to come up with another candidate if they felt that Biden was not going to be fit to be the next president of the United States because of his age and because of other things that's going on with him. I understand that. I definitely understand that. But what the United States of America is doing is shameful. They are airing their dirty laundry out in public. This is the vision of the Democratic Party. It's horrible. And what they're doing is they're shaming us and they're setting us up for failure. Now, getting back to President Biden, who I respect, and who beat the pants off Trump the first time. That was a hard race. He saved this country. He saved us and he saved this country with his experience, his respect for this country, and respect for all people. I give him that. But on the other hand, right now, he is being very selfish. He is being very selfish, and he's setting this country up for failure. That's what it is that he is doing. Because if he does not come through and beat Donald Trump, we are in for it. We are really in for it. And for his family, for Biden's family, to keep pushing him to stay in this race is also a selfish thing to do. It really is a selfish thing to do. What the Democratic Party needs to do is just get behind him. Get behind him and come up with strategies to get more votes. Now, everyone says that Biden should turn it over to Kamala, and let her run for the president of the United States, that she has a better chance of beating Joe Biden. Okay, maybe that's true. I don't know. The other alternative is Donald Trump, who has humiliated the United States of America. He has the full backing of the Republican Party. They are standing firm with this man. This man is a crook. He is a womanizer. He is a blatant racist. Look at everything that he did against this country that everybody is applauding. Look what the Supreme Court did. Oh my God, can it get any worse? They supported this man's wrongdoing. They supported it. I have never seen what is becoming of the country. I have never I'm 60 years old. I've been voting since I was 18 years old. My family believed in the power of the vote. But lately, what is going on with this country and the division within the Democratic Party? It's shameful. It is shaming this nation. It is making people afraid. It is making leaders afraid. We can't stand 4 more years of Trump. During the Trump administration, look at the violence. This man is truly all about the violence. Look what he did with immigrants. Now listen, I say yes, the immigrant situation is getting out of hand. You know, the land of the free, the home of the brave, whatever. I do say that the immigrant situation is really, really, really getting out of hand to the point where it is affecting, everyone's daily life. It's affecting our economy. It's affecting jobs. It's affecting space. We really need to come up with a solution besides victimizing immigrants. We really need to come up with a solution because they are coming here. The majority of them are coming here, fleeing, the bad economic situation of their country. But getting back to the tea of this conversation, that how we are embarrassing the President of the United States, our leader. Our leader that we are supposed to support, show love, show concern, show compassion. Now, Joe Biden knows within himself, behind closed doors, that he's really too old for this. He really is. That job, that's a strenuous job. But I agree with one thing that he is saying. Why didn't someone from the Democratic Party come out and challenge him and try to run for the presidency? No one has. But then you ask this man to step down. Step down for who? November's almost here. We're in July. Step down for who? Who is going to be brave enough, bold enough, have the courage to stand up against that tyrant, Donald Trump? Listen, American people, I know a lot of people are not listening to this podcast. They don't even care. They have their heads all up in the clouds. So let me tell you something. You better get them out of the clouds. You better stop daydreaming. Because the first time Donald Trump ran, no one thought he was going to get in the White House. And he got in. He got in. And it was a shock to this nation. You have billionaires, millionaires, gazillionaires supporting Donald Trump because there's millions of people in this country who feels the same way that he does. They are white supremacists. They want this to be a white nation, white country. Look at how many black men were dying underneath the administration of Donald Trump. Now, I'm not saying that things are still not happening within the black community, but it's not happening the way that it was happening before. Oh my God, if people just don't wake up. Even black people saying that they have a hard time thinking about voting for Biden. Hispanic people. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's going to be 4 years of suffering. I remember riding the trains during the Trump administration. And there was so much tension. Everywhere you went, it was so much tension. People didn't even want to call this man's name out in fear of retribution because of Trump supporters. They have the right to support him, just like I have a right to support Joe Biden. We need to support the best candidate, not a womanizer, not an extortionist. We have a former president of the United States who was on trial for bribery. His sex life came out in court. Oh my God. Okay, yes. Hunter Biden had his court case. You know, every family has some skeleton somewhere. Everyone does. But at least Biden showed respect and he showed dignity. They support the son, but they do not support his wrongdoing. This world is going so backwards. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people, with their religion. I go to church and I'm not bashing nobody's religion. I'm just, people saying I'm just going to depend on God. On God we trust. Yes, we do. But when you have evil in this world, literally destroying people's lives, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Yes, I am telling you that debate was horrible. I think that Biden could have done a better job if he would just kept his answers simple and focused. I think he would have done better if he would have done that. I think that he was just purely nervous and exhausted because he knew that the American people were going to have him underneath a microscope. What I'm hoping, I just thought I would just, come out and just say something because this is the shame of our nation. It is. It is the shame of our nation because we are the only nation that airs out our dirty laundry. The Democratic Party is showing the president disrespect. They're basically telling him that, you're no good, but you had 4 years. You had 4 years to come up with another candidate. You had 4 years to talk to this man. And now because the backup is up against the wall, and now they don't see anywhere out because they thought that this was going to be an easy run. They thought that this was going to be an easy race, and it's becoming too complicated. And the public, the voters, we, the people, are getting tired. We're getting tired of these leaders with their selfish agenda. And that's what it is. It's their own selfish agenda. And it's not about what's good for the people. And it's not about what's good for the nation and being within good leadership. All these scandals. And he's saying, she's saying, this is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. I'm going to stop there. Because I can go in and I can go on and on and on. We better be careful. People, we better watch out. And we better be careful. For all those people, white, black, Latino, whoever you are, who, I'm not going to vote, I don't want Biden because he's too old. Really? Okay, so you want the alternative? Really? Really? Because he is going to come after us with a vengeance. Now, I'm hoping that Biden will come to his senses and maybe step aside, support Kamala Harris to be the next president of the United States, and the support of the Democratic Party put all their forces, their energy, and their finances. Let's get this done. This is not a time for bickering. This is not a time for personal agendas. This is not a time for, how I feel, how they feel, what they want. This is a time to pull together and let's beat the hell out of this man and send him away. Finally. This is Conversations with JR. Whew, the shame of this nation. Listen, you don't have to listen to me. Look at what's going on out there. Until the next time, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Hello, 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 and welcome to another Conversations with JR. I hope all is well with everyone. So much is going on in the world today this summer. We are having these floods and fires and heat waves. Oh my goodness. You know, we often complain in the winter that we cannot wait for summer to come, and summer is here, and you know, it's kind of difficult to get out and enjoy yourself in this heat, but I hope everyone is doing well and just pushing forward and just, enjoying themselves and in good health. This is JR, your host, and if you hear a little bit of barking in the background, that's my partner in crime, Peanut, and sometimes he likes to get in on his 15 minutes of fame. Today's conversation, or should I say today's tea, but this is more like a conversation, a reflection about discovery and renewal. We're going to call this Be Careful What You Sacrifice. Yeah, isn't that juicy? I've been reflecting over the past couple of weeks about, the things that I have sacrificed, but there has the last 2 years, from 2022 up until now 2024, I have really understood about sacrifice and the meaning of sacrifice. Now, I don't know about you, my listeners, but I have become obsessed with compiling to-do lists and, creating vision boards which have helped me achieve my goals, and setting goals and bucket lists and so on, because I want to stay on track with my goals and my vision for my life, and I want my life to have purpose and meaning. So I've been on that track for like the last, I would say, 20 years, and my last vision board, I made it for 5 years, and now I'm on my 3rd year with that vision board, and I could see how it, how it keeps me on track and how it keeps me, focused on my journey. My journey into success is a late one, meaning that I did not follow the yellow brick road of success by, the norm of society standards, which is, you grow up, you go to high school, you graduate high school, you go to college. After college, you get into a meaningful career, you meet the love of your life, you get married, you have 2.5 children, a white picket fence and everything like that. My life did not go that way. It did not go that smooth. I think it went in reverse. I had to drop out of school because I was a young single teenage mom, and I had a child that I had to provide for, so I didn't get a good start and foundation. But however, I did circle back, and I went to school and I got my GED. Then I found my way into a community college, and from there I went to a 4-year college, and then from there I went to grad school. So that was my journey, and it's taken me a long time, from the age of 24 up until now. I'm 60. We're in 2024. And I just celebrated my 60th birthday and my master's degree finally. I didn't get to meet Mr. Right. I was married once, but that didn't work out. I did get to have a good second half of my life. And the reason why I say second half of my life, because when I turned 50, I decided that I was going to try to create a better half of my life than what the first half was, because I had spent so much time in dead-end jobs and things that didn't matter, and dysfunctional relationships with friends and men and family. We don't often consider, dysfunctional relationships and families harmful to us, but they are. So, getting back on track about today's tea of be careful what you sacrifice. And I have been reflecting over the last couple of weeks. We are in the month of July right now, July 2024. And I've been reflecting over the last couple of weeks about the last 2 years of my blind ambition of achieving, my master's degree. And what I thought was going to be an amazing journey of learning, creativity, creation, networking, turned out to be 2 years of, I wouldn't say a horrible experience, because I don't even know how to describe the black hole, the pit that I was in while I was trying to achieve this goal. And then at the same time, I got a new job. I'm working in social work now. No one told me how horrible and stressful that could be. But anyway, I want you, my listeners, to think about this. While you're in pursuit of your dreams, and you should have dreams that you can turn into reality and set goals and write the plan. I'm a big advocate for that. Live a life on purpose. So while you're on the stage of life, performing all of the activities and the due diligence that you need to in order to make your dream a reality, there are things that's going on behind the curtains that we are not paying attention to, that we are sacrificing meaningful things in our life, such as relationships, social connection, our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health. We're so busy being blinded by sacrifice to achieve that goal, that at the end of the day, when you have achieved that goal and you're standing alone, because I'm basically standing, alone. I wish I did have someone in my life to share that success with, but I don't. But ambition has its pros and its cons. Ambition can bring out, I would say, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in us. Blind ambition is deadly. Okay, so I like to divide this up into 2 bits. Ambition has its pros and cons, and sometimes we don't pay attention to that. But blind ambition is deadly. And I did not weigh the pros and cons going into achieving this master's degree, getting a new job, and all that. I got a little puppy. He's 2 years old now, and I did not understand that what I had to sacrifice, because this was a rigorous, fully online program, but I was going to sacrifice to achieve this goal. We drive ourselves into exhaustion. Everybody talks about that grind, but I believe it's the way you grind, how you grind. It's okay to grind. I'm thinking about my grind every day, and I'm thinking about how I can do it better, how I can do it different, that it doesn't leave me mentally and physically and emotionally exhausted. We don't want ourselves to perceive when we set these goals to be weak, and we don't want to be seen as not good enough if we stop. And if we recharge and reset while making these goals. So what we do is we push through these ugly storms. And what happens is we come out on the other side. We come out battered and numb and bruised and dazed and confused because we have no idea we weren't supposed to push through that storm. We were supposed to wait till that storm was over and proceed. And this is what we do. This is what a lot of people, I like to say we, but this is what the majority of people do. When we are sacrificing our families and our friends and our social connection to achieve that goal. And you really, really have to ask yourself, is it really, really worth it? I've known some people who were so full of blind ambition that when they achieved their goal, it broke up their family, it broke up their marriage, it isolated them from friends because they got arrogant in their pursuit of their goal. When we're pursuing goals, we become greedy. Personal goals is a great thing to achieve, but Is it worth neglecting our social connection? We are social beings. We need to be connected. It's the way that we recharge, and we don't pay attention to what's happening with our bodies and mental health and emotional health while we are grinding, for these goals. It happened to me. That's why I'm sharing it with you. It happened to me. I'm always encouraging people to live a life with purpose. Raise your children with a purpose. Show them what a good purpose in life means and how that can guide them. When you get married, what is the purpose of you getting married? What is the purpose of you striving on that job to get a raise? Yes, to get a promotion, to make more money. We know all of that. That's natural. But is it really going to bring quality to your life, purpose to your life, or is it just going to bring out more stress? When my life came crashing down around me after I graduated in March finally, and I achieved that lifelong dream of getting my master's degree. My life started unraveling, and I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know what was going on with me. I just felt like I was having this out-of-body experience. I wasn't as happy and joyful as I thought I was going to be. The degree came in the mail, and I said, woohoo! I put it in a frame, and I put it on the wall, and I sat there, and I looked at it, and that was it. July 1st is when London Bridge came crashing down on me. I went to my doctor just for a routine physical because I hadn't been since 2022. This is the things that I'm talking about when I say be careful about the things that you sacrifice, because I kept putting appointments off. I kept putting events off. I kept saying no to social events because I had so much work to do. The work. I kept saying no. The assignment. I have to do this. I have to do that. I can't miss this. I can't miss that. And I was neglecting everything that I talk about: self-help, self-care, self-worth. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your emotional health. Take care of your physical health. Everything that I preach to people about. Was I doing it? No, because I had a one-track mind. I was caught up in blind ambition. And it is deadly. So I went to the doctor. I thought that I was just going to pounce in there. I thought that I was just going to get a physical. Maybe I know that I was borderline diabetic, and I thought that I was going to get some pills, and he was just going to tell me to come back and follow up in a couple of weeks. Oh, no, it didn't happen like that. I sat in that doctor's office. He said, you're getting ready to go to the hospital. I said, excuse me? I thought that doctor was joking. No, he wasn't joking. My sugar level was 300, my blood pressure was 249, and my AC1 was 14. Yeah. I was in trouble. I was in trouble for a long time, and I didn't pay attention. Because I didn't pay attention to what my body was saying to me, because I had dropped an extreme amount of weight. And come to find out, I had dropped 32 pounds. Yeah, because the last time I went to the doctor, I was 163. When I went to the emergency room, I was 132. And everybody kept commenting about the extreme amount of weight that I lost. I contributed to the stress of school, the stress of the job, but I was not paying attention to my body was trying to tell me something. I wasn't feeling well for a very long time. Be careful, people, of the things you sacrifice, because what I was sacrificing was my health. My emotional health is, was okay, except for a little stress on the job. My physical health, it could have been worked on, because I used to exercise daily, no less than 30 minutes a day. Yoga, breathe, walk. I sacrificed myself. I threw myself under the bus to achieve this goal, because in my mind, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying to myself, girl, it's now or never. Them numbers is getting up there. And you got to get it. You got to get it. And in the meantime, my health was failing. My body was falling apart. I was feeling the effects, and I blamed it all on the stress of school and work. I was told, while they were working on me and putting all kinds of medication in me to stabilize me, I was told that I was lucky that I did not have a stroke. You know, they were looking at me in the hospital like, how did you function? How did you make it? I don't know. Because you know what I did? I kept pushing through. Now, there's different ways of pushing through. But when people kept saying, and I saw it, I started paying attention, I saw the drastic weight loss. But I just kept going and going. I was sacrificing for that. Blind ambition is deadly. Share this podcast. Talk to people. Be careful what you sacrifice. Be careful what you sacrifice. I was even listening to my religious leaders, which I respect highly. You know, if you don't come to church, you know, that means that you don't love God, and you don't want to be in the presence of God, and you know, you have to come because you have to worship God, you have to be in His presence. And I was just stressing myself out everywhere, and I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't listening to the warning signs. I am so grateful to be here today. I am truly grateful to be here today. I didn't have a stroke. It didn't harm my kidneys. It didn't harm my heart. It didn't destroy my liver. July 1st was a blessing and a wake-up call. It was a blessing and a wake-up call. And then I had to start reflecting back of how I sacrificed myself, how I just threw myself out there because I wanted to achieve this goal of getting this master's degree. So I achieved it. Did it get me a raise on the job? No. It's a master's degree in education. You know, right now because of the pandemic, a lot of people are not hiring, you know. So I have to stay in the field of social work until I can get back on path what I want to do with education. But in the meantime, it almost cost me my life. It almost cost me my life. This thing of being ambitious is okay. But you got to think about what you're doing, who you're doing it to, who you're doing it against. You know, I don't have close-knit ties with my family anymore. You know, so I was lucky because I'm laying there in the hospital, and I did have a few good friends who came, took care of my little Peanut, took care of my dog, came to see about me. I had one young lady who left her job on the day that I was being discharged to come and get me, to bring me home, to make sure that I'm stable and that I'm okay. It scared me. That is a moment of, I will never forget. I've had a lot of moments that threw me up against a brick wall. But that scared me. That scared me. Because I was the cause of what happened to me and what was happening to me and how I almost destroyed my life. So now here I am. Today is July 21st. It's been 3 weeks. I'm home. And the consequences of what I sacrifice, I'm injecting myself 3 times a day with insulin. And that has to be for the next 60 days to get me back to a baseline. I'm taking, thank God I'm not taking a lot of medication. I'm taking that horrible metformin. But it's not bad. It's as a matter of fact, I went to the doctor. a week ago, and he says, I'm doing great. He said, my body is responding well and that I am doing great. 60 days, get me back to a baseline, and I might be to the point where I'm only injecting myself once a day, taking one pill, and that's it. I am extremely, do you hear me when I tell you, with tears rolling down my eyes and a grateful heart, I am extremely grateful. And I'm looking at life through different eyes with clarity. To those who are listening to me, you need to be careful about the things you sacrifice. You have to ask yourself as if it's worth the sacrifice. I'm just so blessed that I live in a house where, I've known this family for 20 years, the homeowners, and that they look out for me because I don't have anyone else. That they look out for me, and I know that if something happened to me in the middle of the night, I can call on them, and their grandchildren live here, and they take care of my dog Peanut for me. I'm very, very grateful for the few friends that I do have who check in on me. The results could have been worse. It could have been tragic had I not made up in my mind that I was going to go to the doctor that day. Had I not had a doctor that just didn't give me pills and say, go home, take this. No, you have to go to the hospital. Had I not had the great care that I had with all the tests in the hospital, and to reassure me that my kidneys wasn't damaged, and that my pancreas wasn't creating insulin, and that my heart is working fine, and that my liver wasn't damaged, and that it's not too late to get back up on my feet again. I'm feeling good. I'm taking one day at a time. I'm seriously taking one day at a time. I am learning how to eat better. I didn't have bad eating habits. It's just that now I have to just eat better, eat more, exercise. I bought myself one of those the treadmill walking pads. I'm setting my house up. I'm getting it together. Blind ambition. I should have called this blind ambition is deadly. But just be careful about what you sacrifice when you go for these goals. If you have a family and it's going to affect your family to the point where you are just not connecting with them, and all you want to do is reach your goal, and you're screaming at everybody saying, oh, you don't understand, you don't want me to have it, why aren't you with me? Think about what you're doing and who you're doing it to, and why you're doing what you're doing. You have to think about that. You really, really have to think about it. It's horrible to be alone. I'm alone. It used to be by choice. But now when I look out there, whatever. We know about relationships. We'll talk about that the next time. But I am just so grateful that I do have a small but good, honest support system that will help me through this battle of regaining my health. I'm not down. I'm not laying down. I'm not taking this. I'm not going to be one of them ones walk around here popping a bunch of pills and say, I'm diabetical now. I just have some things that I need to correct and get myself back together again. I'm feeling good. That's why I'm talking to you. Thank you for listening. Remember, ambition is great. Living a life of purpose is great. Weigh the pros and cons of your ambition. Don't go out there with that, walking in that blind ambition. And be careful about the things that you sacrifice. There are consequences. There are consequences. Until the next time, share this podcast, share this conversation, reflect, discover, and there's always time to reset and regroup. I thank you for listening to Conversations with JR. Until the next time, be well.